the reason this is so important is that our babies absorb our emotional state by way of something called mirror neurons in the brain. So it's science. Um, and the reason this pertains to sleep is that if you are feeling anxious, frustrated, angry, stressed, any of those sort of more challenging emotions, your baby will feel that too. A calm parent leads to a calmer baby. You can't control how your baby feels. There are going to be times when your baby isn't feeling so calm and they have important information they need to communicate to you through their crying. But we can control our own internal landscape. And by doing so, and by keeping ourselves nice and chillaxed, then we can create an environment that's conducive to our baby's sleep, a nice, calm environment. So if you take a few deep breaths, that's usually enough to kind of calm you down in the moment. But if you do that and you are still feeling really stressed and you just can't get yourself calmed down, then I highly recommend reaching out for some support. Y'all, it takes a village. It really, really takes a village to raise a happy, healthy family. And so if that means finding yourself a therapist or a support group or some other means of stress reduction, then so be it. Go do it, and it may be the best thing that you do for yourself, your baby, and your family. I'm also always happy to schedule coaching sessions with you to help you establish a family mindfulness practice. That can help a lot too. So now let's talk about the mindful method for sleep. So the mindful method for sleep recognizes what we were just talking about, that a calmer parent leads to a calmer baby, and that when a parent is feeling stressed out and reactive, frustrated, and you just want your baby to go to sleep immediately, that's kind of what is it? It's counter to sleep. It's going to make it harder for your baby to fall asleep. So with the mindful sleep method, it doesn't matter how you're putting your baby to sleep. You could be rocking your baby to sleep, breastfeeding, bottle feeding to sleep, snuggling to sleep, co-sleeping, or your baby might be falling asleep independently in their own bed. Whatever the case may be, your internal emotional state matters because of those mirror neurons in the brain. If your baby is around a parent who is calm and collected, then they're going to have a much easier time calming themselves and falling asleep. So to implement the mindful method for sleep, it's really easy. Actually, it's really simple. I don't know if it's easy. It gets easy with practice, though. So as you are either holding your baby to sleep or they're in their own sleep space and you're just getting them nice and calm and ready for bed, just take a moment to notice your breath. Watch yourself as you're breathing in and out. And imagine that there is this calm reservoir in your heart. This reservoir of calm and relaxation and all sorts of cozy pro-sleep vibes. Now imagine that reservoir of calm and relaxation and love is flowing from your heart to your baby. And it's flowing to your baby and through and around your baby and enveloping your baby in all of this calmness and this serenity. And so your baby may cry at times while you're doing this, and that's okay. This isn't magical. It's scientifically based that the calmer you become, the easier it will be for your baby to settle. So just keep on taking those deep breaths and imagining that calm flowing to your baby, and eventually your baby will settle. I promise you that they will. And by keeping yourself calm, rather than frustrated, angry, and just wanting your baby to go to sleep as fast as humanly possible, you're sending them calm vibes. Because when you let yourself get stressed out and you're like, go to sleep, you're rocking like this, go to sleep, or you're bouncing, go to sleep, go to sleep. When you're doing that, then your nervous system is activated and it's ratcheting up. And then your baby's nervous system absorbs that energy and it ratchets up. And it's this tumbleweed, this sort of feedback loop of they're crying, stressing you out, you getting more stress, which then stresses them out and they start crying more. By implementing the mindful method for sleep, you're going to put a stop to that tumbleweed. It's not going to tumble out of control. Your baby may keep crying for a while, but they will feel that calmness and that warmth and love coming from you, and I promise you, they will settle. And so this mindful method for sleep is it's an important foundation moving forward every time you put your child to sleep or you're with your child at a sleep time. Now let's talk about responding mindfully to your baby's crying at night. So who out there is guilty of rushing to your baby, scooping them right up at the first peep they make in the night, or rushing right over them and plugging them up with that pacifier as soon as you hear a squeak? It's really common, and we do that instinctually because we think, oh no, baby's starting to wake up, let's pacify them back to sleep ASAP so we can all go back to bed as quickly as possible. Very, very common. But what I'd like for you to start doing should your baby begin to cry, and this actually applies to non-sleep times as well, is to pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Of course, I'm always telling people to take a deep breath before they respond. It's kind of my thing. But take a nice deep breath, a long, slow breath, pause, and then really listen to and really observe your baby. And when you do this, you're going to start being able to decipher really important information that they're trying to communicate to you. If your natural reaction is just to immediately pacify all tears, you are depriving your baby of expressing themselves. You are not letting them communicate what their specific need is if you immediately pacify them in the quickest way possible. So, in the night when this happens, please, if the baby starts crying in the night, pause and give them at least a minute or two before you intervene. Really listen to them because your baby may not even be awake. Babies spend a lot more time in REM sleep than we do. And also when they're in REM sleep, they move around like crazy and they vocalize. Sometimes they even cry. Sometimes they even crawl. They're really just acting out their dreams. We don't do that as adults because our bodies are essentially paralyzed from the neck down during REM sleep. Babies are not. So they are loud sleepers. By intervening too soon, you may inadvertently be waking them up. Or you might be turning a partial arousal between sleep cycles into a full-blown night waking. You might be feeding them when they don't need it. You might be giving them the pacifier when they don't need it. You might be rocking them when they don't need it. So really, we want to give them the space to, number one, make sure that they're fully awake. And to number two, give them a chance to practice self-soothing because babies innately have some self-soothing capacity. We just have to give them the space to learn.